good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friend, former Milwaukee Bucks center Paul Mokeski. Big Mo, this is the best time of the year, man. It is playoff time in the NBA, and I'm excited to kick things around with you and listen to all our new friends we got here at Chilltown Hoops. Everybody's already checking in. Welcome. Please send us your questions and comments. And Mo, I just want to start by just getting your overall thoughts of where we are in the playoffs after the first round concluded over the weekend, and now we're jumping into the second round.
Well, we're in the second round, right?
Yes, sir.
In the first round, it's kind of exciting. But let's face it, right? How many times have I said this? Availability is the biggest ability in the NBA. No Giannis, no Bucks, no Kawhi, no Clippers, no Butler, no Heat. So I mean, it's just redundant, but that's just the way it is, and it's frustrating because you really want to see all the teams at their highest level, but with the injuries and all everything that's going on, we just haven't. But the strong survive, and I think Boston's still the favorite. I think Minnesota's going to scare Denver because of their size, and we're going to see 7-game series, ups and downs and injuries and momentum shifts. So this second round is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and our friends are already checking in. What's up, Steve? Welcome to the show, brother. We appreciate you every week, and we appreciate all our new viewers that we've been bringing in here at Chilltown Hoops. Checking out We Got Next with former Bucks legend Paul Mokeski
and Detroit Piston.
And former Piston. That's right, baby. And don't forget to subscribe to our shows at Chilltown Hoops at YouTube. That way you won't miss any shows, even if you can't join us live. But we love it when you join us live and give us your questions and comments. Hey, Mo, you were talking about, you're right, availability is the best ability. When does this become, hey, you know what? We can't go on with this, especially with a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who is just a terrific player, there's no doubt about that. But he's just not there when you need him. The Pelicans, Zion Williamson, had probably the best year of the season, but when they needed him most, he wasn't there.
I think Ty Lue said it in his press conference. What are you going to do different next year? Load management. That's what I'm going to do. I don't care if we get fined, because you got to have these. If you're going to play well in the playoffs, they got to be healthy. And I don't know. Guys are straining their calf muscles and stuff like that. Come on, man. When I played, we had ice bags and that's about it, and tape. Now they have masseuses and strength and conditioning people, and getting your balance right, and getting your nutrition right, and having the cooks at the arenas. How can you? I don't know. I don't understand how you cannot stay healthier than they are right now. The main guys. It's mind-boggling to me.
That's a great point, because, and you've seen with all your time in the NBA as a player, a coach, a scout, you've seen the advancement in the game from the technology aspect on and off the court, and even in medicine. But it seems like guys miss more games today than they ever did yesterday. And let's talk about not to mention the technology and equipment.
Yeah, think back in the 80s. I like to do that because that's when I played. Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Moses Malone, Jack Sikma, Kevin McHale, Rob. They very rarely missed any games in the playoffs. And I'm talking about, we're flying commercial and we're like, I'm serious. I mean, you know, one trainer, he taped your ankles and gave you some ice bags. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. Maybe they made us stronger back in the day. Of course, now I'm paying for it with 5-foot surgeries, 4 knee surgeries, a new knee and a new hip. But, back then we just played.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I got these comments coming in. Let's start here with our friend Woodage. I think players today don't have the will to come back from injury like they did in the past. Anything to that, Mo? Because I've heard that before too.
Well, and this is good. This, good or bad. I mean, I, you know, we were more willing to take risks with our bodies back in the day. I mean, I saw people get shot up an ankle to play. Hell, one year in the playoffs when I was with the Bucks, I got my knee drained every other day in the playoffs. We played and then I get it drained and we play again. And you know what? That's just the way it was. And today's a different day, maybe for the better. The one thing I do have against players now that I think that you're kind of on point with that, they're not willing to come back when they're like 80% or 85%
Mhm.
as much. Embiid probably played at 75%, but I give him credit. He came back. He tried to play. And but a lot of these guys, if they're not 95 or 100%, they're just not going to get back on the court. And, that's up to them. Money has something to do with it. I mean, players are making 50, $60 million a year. The average salary is $4 million a year. You know, maybe if I was making that much, I wouldn't have had to drain my knee as much. I would have, but I think it's a combination of that. And there, I played with guys that, I play with guys that, hey, tape me up, get me out there, I'll give you my best. And I play with guys that, you know what? My ankle is only like 89.5%, so I'm not going to play today. So but I think there's more of those guys now, and I think there's more at stake. I mean, if you're Kawhi or Giannis or something, when you go out and play and really hurt yourself even more than you are, you're going to cost yourself hundreds of millions of dollars. So I can understand that.
Yeah. Okay. Any truth to what Steve says? In the 80s, players sent the ball boys out to get fast food all the time. Maybe that was
Absolutely,
the secret.
absolutely, no question. I mean, you would get to an arena and, certain guys, like, you have your routine. Like, someone asked me about NBA naps, back then. I mean, and it was true. I would get 2 to 3 hours of sleep in the afternoon on a game day. That was my routine. If we're flying into Philly, we land in Philly. We land in Philly at 10 in the morning. We get to the hotel. I get something light to eat, watch some TV, take a nap for 2 or 3 hours, wake up, get something light to eat, take a shower, and go to the arena. That's what it was. And a lot of guys, when they got to the arena, maybe they didn't eat anything at the hotel. I mean, all the time you're sitting in the locker room and guys giving a kid $20, go get me a couple hot dogs and a Coke from upstairs. Happened all the time. Now it got crazy. Guys start eating that crap at halftime. Now you're like, wait a minute.
Cat came back and helped the Wolves with the 5 straight playoff games. Win 5 straight playoff games. Yeah, some of these guys. I mean, it's not everybody. Uh,
Yeah. I think the average is Cat and Bede was on one leg and had damn Bell's palsy, where his left eye wouldn't close.
yeah.
So I mean, I give that guy all the credit, those guys all the credit in the world. And at the same time, I'm not going to blame guys that you know uh, can I hurt myself worse? Always. I mean, and that doesn't save you from an injury anyway. I saw a comment here that, if you play not to get hurt, you usually get hurt. That's true. That's a lie. If you play half speed, you get hurt more than if you're playing full speed. But, they have doctors and trainers and physios and, attending. I mean, there's guys that Dirk Nowitzki was one. I mean, his ankle really bad, and he got taped up so much. But like, take that road trip when we get into a place and we check in the hotel. Dirk's getting treatment for 3 or 4 hours that night before the game. So there's guys that will and guys that won't. I think there's more guys that aren't willing to go out there at not 97.5%. Okay.
It sounds like you found a new. Is this a newfound respect you have for Embiid? I know you've always thought he was a very talented player.
Yeah, but I have a lot more respect for him. He's dragging on that. That's what we did back in the day, man. Hey, coach, I'm like 50%, but I'm going to tape it up, warm up, and see what I can give you. That's what we did. But players now, damn, man, they're sitting over on the sidelines with hats, sunglasses, and shorts and flip flops on. I ain't playing, okay?
And we're gonna get to all these games and break them down. Keep these questions and comments coming. Steve says the ball boys made $10 a game and got a pair of sneaks at the end of the year.
They got tipped if they made. That's why a lot of the ball boys wanted to work the visitors' locker room, because the visitors are the ones that come in and send you upstairs for some hot dogs and stuff and give you that tip.
What age? Kevin McHale used to eat pizza on the bench during the games.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No. Definitely not when he was playing. If he was injured, probably try to sneak it a little bit. Dave Cowens, when he was, that was the first time when I was with the Bucks and Dave was there and he was hurt, and he was sitting on the bench, and I was sitting by him, and he has one of those Gatorade cups, but there's no Gatorade in it. I look in there's popcorn in there. He's like seeking some popcorn, but no, McHale maybe did when he was not playing, but not when he was playing. He didn't do that, man.
All right, let's get to some. Here's a great question.
Hey, Coach.
Victor Wembanyama was named Kia Rookie of the Year today. Your thoughts? This is from our friend Julio.
Yeah, that's Coach. That's Coach in San Antonio. Yep. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, Coach. I mean, I saw the guy play. I knew he would be a force in the NBA. Blocking shots, I knew he was going to do that. I thought he'd score okay. He doesn't rebound as well as I like him, but man, Coach, that guy is, he's so long. He's so active. He does second attempts. He's competitive. He can shoot the three. But watching him block shots of guys that don't get their shot blocked. He's just, he deserved it. I know Holmgren's team's doing better, and Holmgren had a decent year, but Coach Wembanyama averaged 20-something points and almost 10 rebounds and 3 blocks a game. Yeah, he deserved it, and he's going to be a force of nature. How do you deal with that? That's not the normal situation. We've had guys, Manute Bol, guys but not like that. Mark Eaton was a big, strong guy, 7'4", but not like that. Not that can do what he does and competes like he does. That's what I love about him. And
is he a better athlete than Ralph before he got hurt?
No. He's longer. He's quicker. Probably.
And I'm talking about Ralph Sampson to our viewers out there.
Yeah, Ralph Sampson in today's game would be shooting threes, running the floor, bringing the ball down. We weren't allowed to do that back then when he played. A lot of guys would have done that, but Ralph is just as good an athlete for sure. But Wembanyama's 3 inches taller and probably a foot longer.
Wow,
that makes a big difference.
Yeah. This is about Holmgren. Got tired last month, but he's going to be a good pro. I agree with that. He'll get stronger, don't you think, Mo?
Yeah, I'm 7 foot. When I came in the league, I was 250. When I left the league, I was 280. You know, it's
Yeah.
just natural big guys. You know, he's not going to do that. He's more, you know, who else we should mention along those lines? Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley was
Yeah.
7'5", could run the floor, pass it really good, shoot threes when he was asked to. You know, he wasn't as tough as we would like him, but he was that type of athlete. But, you know, Holcomb's going to gain strength, good knowledge. And, you know, it was his first year. So he's not used to playing 82 games plus playoffs. So you got to get to that, you know, all-star break, and you got to retool and to get ready for the next 30 games plus playoffs. I mean, people don't understand, you know, when you go long in the playoffs, you're talking about 20 plus more games in 2 more months. Easy. That's a
Yeah.
lot of that's a college season almost.
Yeah. A lot of wear and tear. Hey, Paul. Before we get in the game, let's talk a little bit about the coaching situation in the NBA. We see that to no one's surprise, I don't think, Darvin Ham was fired uh, from the Lakers by the Lakers over the weekend, and your thoughts on Darvin being fired and who they might pick up to replace him, and you coached at the NBA level. What is How is that business?
It's tough business, like I tell everybody. You can't coach in the NBA if the players don't let you coach them. So the players have to let you coach them. Play NBA coaches make between 3 and 10 million a year. NBA players make between $4 and $60 million a year. And guess what? There's more of them than there are coaches. So the NBA has shifted. It's a players' league now, including the coaches level. The main players on the best teams have a say in their coaches. That never was the case. That was never the case. Magic Johnson maybe started that a little bit, but now they have total control. And you know, so you have to be a special person to coach in the NBA. It's about X's and O's. It's about relationships. You know, and we've talked about this, but coaching in the NBA is very, very hard, especially as a head coach. And you have to have a few things for sure. You have to have knowledge of the game. You have to have knowledge of X's and O's and systems, and you have to have that knowledge because guess what? LeBron James thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he probably is smarter than most. And Darvin Ham didn't match up to that, and that cost him a lot in their respect for him. You know, then that I just said it, the players have to have respect for you. When you saw Chris Finch go down in Minnesota, you could tell his players respected him. They gathered around him. You know, they have respect. They have to respect you. So you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the respect, and then you have to have communication skills at all levels. A head coach in the NBA has to communicate with their players, obviously, the superstars, the all-stars, the role players, all of them. He also has to have communication skills with his coaching staff, the guys on the bench, the guys behind the bench, the video guys, the scouting guys. He has to have communication skills with all of them. Then he has to have communication skills with the general manager and with the president and with the owner. And he has to have all those things. And as far as players are concerned, you could be like a father, like a big brother, like a teammate. You have to be all those things for all these different people and know when to be. Like Don Nelson used to tell me when I first started coaching, you got to know your players. You got to know who you have to pat on the butt, and you got to know who you have to kick in the ass. And those are two different players you have to make them play, to help them play the best they can at your team. And
Hey, Mo, if they called you and named you the Lakers coach tomorrow, and LeBron comes back, what would be your conversation with him? Would would you pull him aside and say, and hey, because he's the leader of that team?
absolutely, of course, I would probably try to get a dinner with AD and LeBron away from the office and just sit down and just talk about. And first, guess what I would do first? I would ask them. I wouldn't come and sit down and say, "Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We got this. I got this. I got these ideas." No, I wouldn't do that. I'm going to ask them questions. Hey guys, first of all, you won a championship a couple years ago. What are your thoughts on what happened this year? How do we get back to there? And what did you like last year? What did you not like last year? And we're going to see how we can fit it in the system I have in my mind. And then I'll explain that to you, and then we'll go from there. It's a team effort.
Yeah, that is great. That seems like the perfect thing to do. I mean, do you think guys do? But you know what? Sometimes you probably don't even get a chance. Like when Steve Nash goes to Brooklyn a couple of years ago, Kyrie already said we don't even need a coach.
Yeah, but you have to meet with them and say, hey, I know. Guess what? Reporters take things out of context, and you say what you don't mean a lot of time. What do you really mean? Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. And how do you see a coach fitting in? And I'll tell you how I see a coach fitting in. I mean, you gotta talk to them. You gotta communicate. It's not bringing a lot of coaches. I'm telling you, a lot of coaches in the NBA, especially, have egos. They have huge egos, and you got to break that down because every player has ego. Even the 12th guy on the team in the NBA has ego.
Yeah.
So you have to get through that. The teams that make it are the team. Look at Minnesota, how they react after games and in press conferences. Look at Indiana, the way they play. You have to have that. There's a hierarchy, and you have to have that. But at the same time, you have to have that respect. So in the video room and on the practice court and in the locker room, you can hold everybody accountable, not to the same degree. I'm not going to yell at LeBron like I'm going to yell at the 12th guy on the team. Well, no, that's not how it's done. That's not how it works, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I'm a coach, I look for that guy that's a starter that I know he's tough. I know he could take it. And I put him aside. Hey, Ricky, you're one of our main guys, but you can take coaching really. You want to be coached really hard. Yeah, coach, I do. Well, listen, I'm going to say some stuff in practice and video sessions, that might get you riled up a little bit, but just chill out. I'm kind of saying to the whole team, right? Yeah. Ricky, block out. That means the whole team block out.
Yeah.
Ricky, run the floor. That means the whole team runs the floor. And
yeah.
You have to do stuff like that, or it just doesn't work. And I'm telling you, in the NBA,
that's why, folks, I love doing this show. Mo, that is so on point, man. And why I always enjoy doing this show with.
Well, look at coaches. NBA coaches have 4 assistant coaches on the bench. They have 6 behind the bench. They have to monitor all of them, and that's why it's so important that you have the right people in the right place that you trust. Because guess what? I've been there. There's guys on your bench that are stabbing you on the back, telling players, "Hey, Ricky don't know what he's talking about. We should not play zone."
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. And loyalty, as an assistant coach in the NBA and most places, loyalty is the number one thing you have to your head coach. And you know what? I want to say this too. Perception is everything, right? So we have Darvin Ham, who just got fired from the Lakers, right? And he wasn't doing a good job or whatever. Darvin Ham in 2 years with the Lakers was 90 and 74. Last year, he took a team that finished 9th and made it in the play-in and took them to the West Coast Finals against the eventual champion Denver Nuggets, right? This year, he had players that were hurt and were sitting out, but he got them through the play-in again. They lost to, guess who? The Denver Nuggets, who were the champions last year. And guess what? Darvin Ham's record in playoffs in 2 years is 11 and 12. 8 of those 12 losses were against the same team, the championship Denver Nuggets. So did he do a decent job? I think so. Let's take Ty Lue, who, he won a championship like 10 years ago with LeBron in Cleveland, right? And then he took his team to the East Finals again, and it was doing good. But that's been years ago, right? Everyone thinks Ty Lue is the best coach, one of the best coaches in the NBA. Everybody wants to hire him, include the Lakers, if they can get him away from the Clippers. And guess what? In the last 3 years, He lost in the first round, didn't make the playoffs, and lost in the first round. Those are his last 3 years. So it's perception, right?
No, I'm totally with you on that, Mo. Totally with you on that. Hey, let's get into some of the well before we hit on that, the future of Doc Rivers, who took over for Adrian Griffin, one of your former guys, and things just did not go well in Milwaukee this year. I don't know, and of course their best player was out. So that was a problem. But the Pacers were going to be a problem with them, even with Giannis. Of course, you would love to have him. But your thoughts on Doc maybe calling it a day?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's not calling it a day, so you can forget that, Steve. He's not doing that. That's not happening. I think they own 3 or 4 more years, and he's not going anywhere. Second of all, in the NBA, like in even college, when you take over a team after the season has started, that's so difficult. And in the NBA, it's worse. Why? Because once the season starts, you have no practices. There's hardly any practices. There's so many games, so many players aren't practicing. So you got to retool and get yourself in there to think about some stuff. But you have no practices. There's all games, no practices. Then your main players are Middleton's hurt or he's back. He's hurt. Giannis is hurt or he's back. So you're trying to figure it out in the first year. And then Giannis gets hurt and doesn't play in the playoffs. So he's not going anywhere. They're going to give him a year of training camp, some roster tweaks, I believe, that need to be done. And then give him another year and see what happens. And in my opinion, he'll do fine. Let's face it, Giannis runs that team. Giannis pretty much forced him to trade Holiday and get Dame. So think about that. Everyone's going, why'd you trade Holiday? Why don't you keep Dame? Because Giannis said it in the summer. They better make some moves or I might not resign. So, so that's still another problem.
Mo, you say there's no practice. But what are the shoot-arounds? What do they consist of?
Well, first of all, so no practice. I mean, like you're playing 4 games a week, so there's 3 other games, right? 3 other days, right? So you have to travel on some of those days. When you travel, that's a travel day. So let's say we're traveling. We're in Dallas and we're going to Philly to play next night. We're in the morning. We practice for about an hour and a half, and you can't do full contact. People get hurt. You can't get hurt. Your players need to be healthy. So you go through some plays, you do some drills, you maybe cover the other team. The guys that don't play a lot get some conditioning in. You lift, get a massage, do all that stuff. Then you get on a plane and you fly to Philly. And then, you get up in the morning, go over to the gym probably, get some shots up, talk over your strategy for the game, walk through some of their plays, how you're going to cover them. And then you go back to the hotel and then you play the game. So there's no, in the NBA, once the season starts, at the most, you'll practice for an hour and a half. And those practices are not full. You can't have full contact. You can't. If you're practicing and you're scrimmaging in the middle of the season and Luka breaks his ankle in the practice, where are you? You're done. So it's really monitored once the season starts.
Yeah. Hey Mo, let's get to the games. Let's start with the Pacers and Knicks. Last time I checked, the Pacers were up about 7 points starting the fourth quarter. Pacers are playing well.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana, we knew this at the beginning of the year, but they didn't have a very good year, right? In early season tournament, they were going to beat how you beat them. They're young, athletic, they're deep. You won't be able to beat them. Well, the season proved you can beat them. And I think if Milwaukee was healthy, they would have beat them. But they picked up Siakam during the year, and that's huge for them because now when you have Siakam and Turner, who's their big 7-foot guy, you got size now. And Halliburton is struggling in the playoffs, though. Halliburton's struggling. He's not. I don't think he's 100%, but he's playing. And then you have Toppin and McConnell, the little point guard. you have a deep, athletic team that's really hungry, and they're showing up well. I think they're trying to hold on against the Knicks here in New York would be a big win for them because they haven't done that before. So it's going to be interesting. And the Knicks, guess what? They're playing without one of their top 5 players, right? Julius Randle. He hasn't played. He's done. But Brunson. I mean, Brunson is averaging 35 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. He screwed up one game in the last series, but then he came back really strong. The guy that makes that team go, I think, is Jason Hart. He's a 6'3" guard that's tough, physical, defends. He's averaging 17 points and 12 rebounds a game from the guard position.
You mean Josh Hart?
Josh Hart. Josh Hart. Yeah.
It seems like he has. I mean, he's been a okay player. It's like his game has really stepped up this year.
You know how it did? You know why it did that? Because he played in the World Games with Team USA. He was one of the main players in that, and he got experience along with guess who? Anthony
Edwards.
Edwards. Anthony Edwards. So he played with them, and they got experience, and now he's got he feels good about his game. I think he should be on the Olympic team because he's a big physical guard that defends and tough and rebound. But and then DiVincenzo, Hartenstein is a decent big. So this is going to be a good series either way, and probably could go 7, which would be really interesting to have a game 7 in Madison Square Garden, wouldn't it? That'd be awesome.
Oh, absolutely, man! All these semifinal series, conference semifinal series, are all pretty interesting. Let's talk about the game that's coming up at 10 o'clock. As soon as we get off the air mode from talking hoops, we'll get to watch some hoops. Minnesota and Denver. This might be the best semifinal matchup of all 4.
Well, I think all of them are going to be, except maybe Boston, but all of them are going to be close and exciting. But this is a chance. Minnesota is the team that Denver did not want to see in the playoffs because they're big, they're strong, they're athletic, and they have Ant-Man, and and they have Conley at the point, who's a veteran point. But I've harped on this all last year. Why did Miami lose to Denver? Big part was they had no size. I mean, you got to have 7 foot, 260, 70 to battle against the Joker. And guess who has that? Minnesota. And my guy Chris Finch, I've been texting him, hoping his knee's okay. He coached from the second row last night or 2 nights ago, and they got a win. He is a really, really, really good coach, and he's got a roster that no one thought that Cat and Gobert could play together. He's found a way for them to play together. I think it's smart against the Joker. Have Cat guard him, and then have Gobert come over and be a 7-2 problem for him. And I think they're doing that. So, and I don't think the other part of this series, Ricky, I think Murray's I think he's banged up. He scored 0 points in the first half.
Who's that now?
Murray for Denver.
Yeah, Jamal Murray. Yeah, he's.
I think he's hurt. I think he's playing. He's probably about 80%, but I think that is affecting him.
And to your point, I think Woodage has a good point. Aaron Gordon going against 7 foot Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, that's what, to your point, the size that Minnesota can bring. But they will be without Gobert tonight. His wife had a baby. Congratulations to the Gobert family. And so that's going to be interesting, not having him. If your teammate, you're cool with that, Paul?
I don't know about that. Yeah,
I mean, regular season.
Yeah, no question. But playoffs? I mean, listen, is it their first? Maybe, but guess what, guys?
In a long time.
You ain't gonna do it. It doesn't matter if you're there or not, man. You ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
You can get home tomorrow and see the baby anyway. So who knows? But you know what? people think differently. I personally, I would probably play the game and then
Yeah.
rush back when I could. But but
See,
here's the
Linda would tell you to get your butt on that plane, Mo, and go
no,
to
she
the game.
wouldn't. No, she wouldn't. She said, "You play the game, so we got a job next year.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. It's covered." Here's the thing with the Denver Minnesota series that's going to come. It's going to affect it. Denver has no bench. They have no
Right.
bench.
You were
They
saying
have
that.
nobody. So you got Murray, Joker, Aaron Gordon, Porter Jr., and then Caldwell Pope, who's come. There's your five. Then you got Reggie Jackson and Christian Brown. Woohoo! That excites me to put one of those guys in a playoff game. And then you talk about Gobert's going to be missing, but guess who's going to be able to play even more? Nazi Reed.
Yeah, who was fantastic the other day.
I mean, he's athletic. He can shoot threes. So that's why you have to have depth. That's why you have to have that depth.
But I like Brown. And you should too, Mo. He's a former Jayhawk. He's a good young player.
Yes, he's a good young player. He's not a solid 7-person rotation playoff guy. Sorry, he's not. I mean, he's a solid player.
Yeah, he's not there yet.
Who would you rather put in, Christian Brown or Nazi Reed? Which guy are you taking on?
No doubt about it.
On the bench, those guys are sitting there. Who do you put in the game?
No doubt about it.
And I'll tell you, I learned this firsthand when I was with Coach French. We're coaching the Great Britain national team, getting ready for the Olympics in London in 2012, and we played USA in a friendly game in Manchester, England, right? And we had Waldang, we had some other European guys that were good players, but we had no bench. And it was in the middle of the second quarter, and Waldang was really tired, and we looked like we're dragging. And I'm like, I looked at Coach Finchy, and I said, Coach, they're tired. Let's get somebody in. He goes, Mo, look at who USA is putting in. They're putting in Kobe Bryant, whoever those other guys are, and look down our bench and see who are you going to put in to guard Kobe Bryant. I said, you're right, Coach. Do we have any timeouts? Maybe we can rest him that way. But if you don't have a bench, you have nowhere to go once something's not going right or someone gets a foul.
Yeah. I remember how valuable Bruce Brown was for them last year, coming off the bench. He was tremendous. Hey, Mo, before we get to the other games, I got to ask you about this. Pat Riley kind of got on one of his players, Jimmy Butler. Butler was saying essentially if he was healthy, that the Celtics would be home. And Pat Riley said, if you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams. You think Pat's not old school?
Yeah, I mean, let's look back in the day, right? If I'm sitting on the bench and Jack Sikma's trying to guard Moses Malone, and I'm giving Moses Malone crap, and you got to guard him. You need to shut up, man. You just need to shut up. And that's the way Pat Riley is. And that's why that team, that's why that organization is so strong, because he has the head coach's back over the players' back, even playoff Butler or whatever is, who was hurt, didn't even play, he was hurt. So, that's absolutely old school. And that's what, hey, if I was talking crap to Michael Jordan and Sidney Moncrief was guarding him like we had on, what do you think he would have told me to do?
Yeah.
Shut up.
What age Nuggets got rid of their veteran players to play their young bench? Only time will tell if that was a mistake.
Yeah, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
It's going to be told here in about 2 weeks when they're out of the
playoffs. Hey, Mo, let's go on back over to the East with Cleveland and Boston. We still don't know the status of Porzingis for the series yet. Do they need him to beat Cleveland?
You know why they don't need him right now? Is because Cleveland's best big guy, Allen, who is a former Celtic, is out.
Yeah.
So Cleveland had a really big team, much like Minnesota, right? They had Allen, who's 6'11". They have Mobley, who's 6'11". So they had some size, but now Allen didn't play all the last series, I don't think, or maybe a couple games. And if he's hurt, then they don't need Porzingis. But if he's not hurt, they need Porzingis. But I would rest him for the first 2 games and see what happens. Give him another week to get a little bit better. But they are going. You know what? Now that the Bucks are gone, and they might not even need Porzingis to get to win the East. But I would rather have them than not have them.
Hey, Mo, watching that, going back to the Cleveland Magic series, and the Magic young team hadn't been to the playoffs in a while. Got some nice young players. Banchero, 38 points yesterday. They were up 18 points in the first half.
16 rebounds.
Why do these leads not last anymore?
Well, that's no big deal. I mean, you're up 20 in the first quarter. Nobody cares. Those leads are lost all the time in the NBA. All the time. The problem is the leads that are bothering me, you're up 20 in the middle of the third quarter. You should not lose that game. That's the thing. But you're up 18 in the first quarter. That's a coach's nightmare. That's my nightmare. Because all I'm thinking is these guys.
Wait a minute, Mo, you would rather not have an 18-point lead than
absolutely, no question. I'd rather have 8 or 10, no question. Easy. Because what happens is your team starts thinking, we got this. We're good to go, right? It's like prevent defense in football, right? It's like I forgot somebody gave up a lead the other night, and they were up by like 15, and then they started to try to win the game, not lose the game, instead of win the game, and they didn't score anymore, and the other team got it to like 3. It's all if you're up by 18 in the first quarter, that doesn't mean anything. I don't like that at all. I'd rather be up like halftime too. I'd rather be up 10-12. Good. If I'm up 18 or 20, that scares me. I mean, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I see some of it because everybody plays so fast now and they shoot so many threes. You up 18, you go down, you miss 2, they hit 2 threes. It's a 12-point game now.
Yep.
And they got momentum.
Yeah. I mean, they shoot, when I played, teams shot 23s a game. Even when I was coaching in Dallas, we would shoot, 25, 30. Teams shoot 50 now. So that's when, they're not shooting like, 5 threes a quarter. They're shooting like 15 threes a quarter. And that's like you said, when it comes really fast and you miss a couple and they make a couple. And now you call your timeout and everybody knows, oh, shoot, we're in for it now.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to the Magic yesterday against Cleveland.
How many times were the Lakers up in their series at halftime?
Every game.
Yeah.
Every game.
The least important score in all of sports is halftime score. In any sport.
Yeah. I know, ask my Detroit Lions, we were up 24-10 against San Francisco in the NFC title game. My goodness.
And that's why coaches go crazy. That's why when I was coaching, man, I'd be up 20 and the team would score a couple in a row and I'd call timeout and I'd be really mad. They go, relax, coach. We're still up 16. I go, you have no idea what can happen in the next 5 minutes. I do. Why are you mad? We're still up, coach. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I think this is going to be another great series, Mo. Dallas and OKC. They play tomorrow, and Cleveland and Boston tip off tomorrow, followed by Dallas and OKC. Your thoughts?
Okay, I mean Dallas. You remember last year, or maybe it was whatever it was starting last year. Remember when they got Kyrie? I said Kyrie and Luka are not going to work, right. and it didn't for a long time. But guess what? It's working now, and it's working now because I think their egos got out of the way. And now they're actually seem like they're friends and pulling for each other, so that's dangerous. But the thing that Dallas made, and I told you before the playoffs, they're my outside chance is because what did they do in the middle of the season? They had Luca, they have Kyrie, they have some wings. They don't have any bigs, right? So what do? They get PJ Washington, Gafford, and Lively.
Yep.
6'9", 6'11", 7 foot. And guess what? The last game that they had to win, that combination of three guys had 37 points and 20 rebounds between them. That's huge, and that makes them, to me, one of the favorites in the West. And you got Luca and Kyrie who've been there. Then you have OKC who has some nice young talent. Shea Alexander, up and coming guard. Holgram. I mean, really good players, but they've never been in a series like this before. What they swept the other series, right? They've been done for a long time. They've been done for about a week, right?
Yeah.
And that's a game that your rust will show and your inexperience will show. The problem with Dallas, though, I think Luca's bothered. I think one of his legs always seems to bother him. So, but it should be a good series.
Mo, I know as a 7-foot center and played 12 years in the league, all that time coaching, you gotta love it for a kid like Gafford was in Washington. They're just losing every night, and he was playing hard every night up there. Now he comes to Dallas, and you talk about know your role. He rebounds, defends, and you don't have to run any plays for him. He only shoots it when he can dunk it.
Ricky, you got to get it right, man. You got to get it right. How long have you been working with me?
What? Know your role.
No. What are you supposed to
accept your role?
Yes, accept. Everyone knows their role, Ricky. You have to accept it.
Right.
He does. I mean, I forgot he scored like 16 points at one of the games, and they showed his shot chart, and it was all right under the basket.
Yeah, and Mo, if he plays like that, he'll play another 10 years in the league.
Oh yeah. Well, look at talk about Dallas getting the right players, right, to fit in with what they have. Like a lot of teams would do. Lakers didn't do it. Golden State didn't do it. Look, they picked up PJ Washington, Gafford, and Lively. All bigs, all athletic, all run the floor, all can catch lobs from guess who? Luca and Kyrie. They can catch and finish. Yeah. I mean, and they rebound. So those three guys, man, that makes the GM their GM of the year, in my opinion. So that was a great pickup.
Hey, what do you think NBA front offices? What do you think they miss on evaluating players?
Well, first of all, there's some really good front offices in the league, and there's some really bad front offices in the league. Believe me, guys are making a lot of money in the NBA in the front office that don't know what they're doing. That's just a fact.
Yeah. Hey, brother, I live in Detroit, so I know.
Yeah. They make mistake after mistake, and the coach pays for it usually. But I think, like when I was with Dallas for 5 years, we made a lot of great decisions because we took time, and we had one of the first full-time sports psychologists with us, and he was part of the interview process and the draft, and when to sign players, and leadership qualities or followship qualities, right? You have to get guys. There's only a few leaders. Other guys are followers, right? Some guys are really good followers and buy in, and some guys aren't. And that's what those guys turn into, problems. Basketball IQ is very much underrated, in my opinion, especially with young players. I mean, everything is athleticism, arm span, which I believe, jumping ability, yeah. But what about basketball IQ, knowing how to play? You can have the most talented, gifted, athletic guy that's 6'8", and if you got to teach him how to play basketball, you're going to have a problem. That's going to take time. So I think those, their basketball IQ and their mental ability to fit in a team setting, those are the things that are overlooked.
Yeah, because as you mentioned earlier, everybody in the NBA has an ego, and I think you need to have some kind of a
Sure.
ego and self-confidence to play at that level.
Most of the players in the NBA have been all Americans, all starters and stars on their college teams, most of them, right? So what do you
Right.
think they expect? I used to tell guys that when I coached in the G League, listen, you want to get a 10-day in the NBA, you need to play defense, know how to play basketball, spacing, don't take bad shots, don't turn the ball over, and don't worry about any stats, and teams will find you because that's where they're not pulling you up from the G League to be the guy that shoots 25 shots a game. They're pulling you up for a reason, so give them a reason. And, so there's egos everywhere. You have to have some of an ego, but you got to be realistic about it also. If you, and that's the problem. Like you got a 10th guy on the bench that's not playing at all, and he thinks he should be starting. That's a problem, you know. So, and that comes into
Yeah.
play a lot.
Yeah. And as we talked about a couple of weeks ago on these shows, even that last guy on the bench can play. The kid here in Detroit played about 5 minutes a game all year. They started one night. He had 50 points.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, people that think that, I've heard it all. Oh, if I was 7 foot, I'd play in the NBA. If I got a chance, I'd play it. No, you wouldn't. If you could, you would. Right? Come on. If you're seven, if if you can't play, you can't play. If you could, you would. And but all those guys, the 10th, 11th, 12th guy, you should go to a practice. Those guys compete with the starters, with the all-stars. That's why they're there, and that's what they want to be someday. But the problem is, egos come into play when you think your day is now, and it's not for another year or two, at least on this team.
Yeah.
If
Hey,
you
Paul.
if you had a point guard, Steve Nash, we had in Dallas, right? We had Steve Nash, and then you bring in somebody that thinks they should be starting over Steve Nash, you got a problem.
Right.
And that happens. And that happens, I'm telling you.
Come on, man. Hey, Mo, when you hear this talk, and I love watching Anthony Edwards play, but some of the talking heads, oh, he's the next Jordan and all of that.
It was my nephew last week, remember?
Yeah. I mean, why can't we just enjoy these guys for who they are now?
You know what, though? I might be backtracking. Casey, you said it last week, man. You might be right, because when I watch him play, I play against Jordan, man. Athletic, strong, tough, competes, can get to the basket and finish. Sounds familiar, right? But the thing he adds, I think, is even better at this age. I think it's only second year or third year. Jordan didn't get a jump shot till about 5 or 6 years in.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards has one now, and his competitiveness and toughness and willingness to take that shot. That's what the greats had, right? Barkley or Magic or Bird or whoever. The shots on the line. I'm taking it, man. I'm missing, make or miss. I'm taking it. There's guys in the league that I'll be over here.
Yeah. And you know what? And kudos to Chris Finch for helping this guy develop. Clearly, he has the work ethic, and clearly, Coach Finch has got something that's put something in him, giving him the freedom to just take off.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the Indiana game. New York just stole the ball and went up 2 with a couple minutes left. But yeah, so you know what else happened to Anthony Edwards? I told you he played in the World Cup last year. Guess who his coach was? Guess who the coach of that team was? Or when he was trying out for that team? Steve Kerr. It was Steve Kerr. And he'll tell you that, you know what, after practice, Steve pulled me aside and he said, you know what, you don't play hard enough. And he thought he was playing as hard as he could. He goes, no, if you want to get where Steph Curry and you want to get up there, you don't play hard enough. You play hard in spurts, 5 minutes here, a couple minutes there. You got to play hard all the time. And he said that in the media and thanked him because it was true when he finally realized it. But it took someone like, someone with the knowledge, the communication skills to say it the right way, and the guts to say it.
Hey, Mo, we got
playing hard enough.
we got a ton of people watching us here on Chilltown Sports. We got next, man, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Please subscribe to the show. I'm sure some of these viewers know some kids, have friends who are playing basketball, maybe in high school, trying to get a college scholarship. What would you say to a young athlete, period? Because you talk to athletes of all kinds of sports about taking their game to the next level.
Well, there's all development, work on your game, work on all aspects of your game. If you can shoot the ball, make shots, you have value to a lot of coaches for the rest of your career. You have to be able to, with the quickness and all that stuff. It's very, very important, and if but you got to be able to do. Just because you're a guard doesn't mean you don't want to learn how to post up, because they do. And just because you're big, you don't want to just shoot threes like everybody else is doing. You want to pick and roll and pick and pop and be able to put the ball on the floor and kick it out. But you know what the most important thing is, Ricky? If I'm talking to a parent or a young kid, because most of them, that's the way I was. I don't know. If you're playing high school ball, you don't know what college is like, let alone pro. You don't know. If you're in college, you don't know what the NBA is like, really. You don't know. So it's just you have to. Here's what I would say. One thing you do know, you have to be willing to do the things that other players aren't willing to do. What does that mean? Well, if I go to practice and it's 2 hours, everyone's there. What if I stay for an hour, work on my ball handling or my shooting? I'm willing to do. They all went home. I'm here. We have something going on this weekend, so we're going to leave town, or we're going to stay in the gym with my group and get better and put the time in and do it with energy and effort. And don't fool yourself. You got to be the best player you can when you can. Be willing to do stuff other people. I was helping a prep school years ago in Reno, and we worked out in a little YMCA. And I get to the gym an hour before everybody else. I take my notes, kind of get myself together, and the kids would. I joined the team, so I said, listen, I'm gonna be here an hour before practice. We get shooting drills up. In the first practice, one kid came, and second practice, 3, and then 5. They finally realized it. But one time their van broke down on the way to practice, and they went back to the house and they made some calls, try to get whatever, and they finally showed up like an hour late or didn't show up. And I asked them, I said, what, you want to get a college scholarship, right? They go, yeah. What's it worth to you? What do you mean, coach? What is that worth to you? Your van broke down, right? Your house that you live in is about 3 miles from the gym. Are you willing to walk, jog, run to the gym for your scholarship? What's it worth to you? Or, if I was just 1.5 miles, I'd do it, coach. But 3 miles, that's a long time. That's a long thing. What is that point? What's too long for you to walk to the gym?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be any time. So that's about willing to do stuff that others aren't willing to do.
That's great stuff. Hey, Mo, we got 1 minute before we get out of here. Steve has a thing. Bill Russell told Wilt Chamberlain he was going to out-rebound him, and Wilt grabbed 55 rebounds. And then he talked about the Jordan cannot touch Wilt. And there's no doubt Wilt's the greatest individual player this game has ever seen.
The numbers don't lie. I don't care who he played against. I don't know any of that crap. He scored 100 points, 80 points more than anybody. He averaged 50 and 30 rebounds, whatever, and I learned this, right? So, and Russell should have known better, because Russell knew how to play the game. Russell knew Wilt was better than him. Russell had a better team. But I knew the guys, he should have known better than to poke the bear. Wilt Chamberlain was kind of a mellow dude. He was a big, monstrous looking guy, but he was mellow unless you pissed him off. Just keep it mellow.
Right.
I knew, like, if I'm playing Daryl Dawkins back in the day, I'm going to be his best buddy. How you doing, D? What's going on? Because I knew if I got him mad, he's going to crush me. He's going to try and kill me, And I knew other guys, like maybe a Kevin Willis, that I'm like, you know what? If I get him riled up, he might get off his game, and I have an advantage. But you can't poke the bear if he's Will Chamberlain. Golly.
Hey, Mo, we got to get out of here. Thank everybody so much for tuning in. This has been fantastic. We'll be back next Monday. For my great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Rickey Hampton. Peace, everybody. See you next Monday.
Share
we
the
got
word.
next.
Share
Check
it.
us out. Chilltown Hoops.